Do you want to bet this college football bowl season alongside Dave Cokin and Ralph Michaels? Well, we have you covered. When you look among the list of our handicappers, some are known more for specific sports, and when you mention college football, two that jump out are Dave Cokin and Ralph Michaels. Mr. Dave Cokin has been the all-time profit leader in college football since he joined Wager Talk, and while the regular seasons have been profitable, his performance in the bowls have been even better, going 45, 22, and 1. That's 67%. Ralph Michaels was a previous general manager of Phil Steele Publications, voting on all significant college football awards, including the Heisman Trophy, before joining Wager Talk. Ralph's run and bowl action has been stellar, going 44 and 20. That's 69%. Our bowl package price will be $199 with the $149 early bird. You can lock in Dave and Ralph's both for only $198, coming out to just $99 each. That's Dave's 68% and Ralph's 69% bowl records, including any 5% best bets released in bowl season for just $198. Access will cover any college football releases from the Bahamas Bowl on Friday, December 16th, through the College Football Playoff National Championship game on Monday, January 9th, from both Ralph Michaels and Dave Cokin, and include any 5% best bets. So act fast before pricing goes back to regular price.
A very happy day after Thanksgiving here. Friday now, November the 25th. It is the college basketball tip-off show powered by WagerTalk.com. We got a ton of tournaments going on. We got some great matchups already underway. We got 3 games still to come here today. We're going to break down for you on the show, come up with a couple of best bets along the way, and we're going to do it with 3 of the finest here at Wager Talk as we welcome in the pen himself, Mr. Ralph Michaels in the house. Bryan Leonard here for a return performance, as is Mr. Dave Cokin. Hope Thanksgiving treated you well here, gentlemen. And Ralph, on this Friday, I just saw the promotion with you and Dave. We've talked about it this week coming up. College football bowl season is almost upon us. Nobody been more profitable than you two. And how do folks get involved now? Just visited both your pages?
Yeah, no coupon needed. Bowl season's going to be $149 to buy an individual package. So if you wanted to get 2 servers, it's $298. You get Dave and I for just $99 each, $198 combined. Top 2 bowl cappers easily over the last 5 years. Head to Dave Page or mine. And remember, Thanksgiving week, $69. Any capper, 7-day all access. My NFL season, on the season, 69%. I'm looking, I may pull the trigger on a 5%, so pay attention.
All right, there you go. Love it. And Bryan Leonard, congrats this week. They don't come around often, but when those 5% plays do, another one in the NHL for you, so congrats there. And what do you got lined up here today heading into the weekend?
Yeah, I appreciate that. They outplayed them the entire game and had to go to overtime to win, but we'll take it. We'll take the 5% winner. Off to a pretty good start today in college football, and we've got a little everything going today. College football, hockey, nice 3-star play in hockey, and college basketball, and a full slate of action on today's card.
It's absolutely huge. And Dave, again, can't wait for bowl season to come along for you, those that are going to hop on board with you and Ralph. And also, you've been absolutely killing it in college basketball. 10-1 run, I believe, here. And the streak continues. What do you got, if anything, here today heading into the weekend?
One college basketball game, which I'm going to give you as the best bet here on the show. College football games, one NHL play, which I think is the same as Brian's. What I want to talk about very briefly, by the way, whenever anybody talks about the good old days, tell them to shut the fuck up. Okay, I just did at least 2 hours of supermarket shopping on my phone. And the items are going to be delivered shortly. I haven't been inside a bank in like 7 years, having to stand in line. Life is so much more convenient in 2022 than it was when I was younger. And then anyway, so at least, I remember the good old days. Blow it out your ass. It's great. I mean, I understand we've got a few problems in the country, but on balance, it's a great time to be alive. That's all I've got to say. Get the roll packing.
Amen to that. Amen to that. I love it. All right, let's start here. There's some basketball going on right now, but we got a couple of really good ones coming up later today. One in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. In fact, straight up I-95 from us here. Oklahoma taking on Seton Hall tonight. Seton Hall laying 2. 127.5 is that total. That'll be an 8 o'clock Eastern time tip-off here. Sooners, nice win over Nebraska here in the first round, getting ready to take on Seton Hall in what was just an unbelievable finish there yesterday. Ralph, how are you approaching this game?
Well, only one way to go total-wise for me. The teams are combined 1-9 over/under this season. Oklahoma, top 30 defense. Seton Hall, a top 25 defense. Oklahoma's pace as slow as any. But I look at the side, and I like the under as well. But I think the side's actually a more attractive play. And I'm a Seton Hall fan. We're in the first year tenure of Holloway as a head coach. The team is deep. There are 9 players that are averaging 18 minutes per game, and they still haven't worked out a lot of issues. 6 different guys have played point guard, and when you look at their turnover percentage, it's very obvious. They turned the ball over 17 times last night against Memphis. They're number 317 in turnovers, number 39 on defense. So a lot of turnovers in Seton Hall games because the offense struggles and the defense is very good. But you look at Oklahoma, they are one of the worst teams. Despite having a very good defense, they do not cause turnovers. They do not play pressure defense. They pack it in, and they're number 339 in defensive turnovers. I think that gives a big edge to Seton Hall. Plus, I like that Seton Hall was challenged. They've played Iowa, which gave them their loss, and then they had a 1-point win against Memphis. You look at Oklahoma, they've played one top 100 team. And that was Sam Houston State at home, and they lost in the opener. I think Oklahoma gets a little bit exposed, and I like what Seton Hall has done. This is going to be a strong, strong team when they get that starting lineup set, and if they start getting some solid guard play.
What do you think here, Brian Len? Listen, I don't know how you get anywhere. If you had Memphis yesterday, I apologize. That was just one hell of a final 2 minutes there in that game. But here they are taking on OU, Porter Moser's group. What do you think?
I'm looking at it a little bit differently than Ralph did. My first thought was it would be a low-scoring game, and the lines makers told you that, and the line still went down by 1.5 points. But now it's to the point where I got to look at the over if I'm doing anything in this one. First of all, these teams played on the same court yesterday, so it's more familiar. The shooting angles are more familiar today than they were yesterday. And Dave and I are both big proponents of the shot quality website. They do a tremendous job, and they break down based on the quality of the shooters and the openness of the shooters, what they should have done. And if you take a look at both these teams, now granted, Rolf's right, they've gone under the total, but the shot quality results have all been higher scoring for both teams. So they have not shot well in these games, but they have that ability, they have that strength. So now that the line's gone down 1.5 points to 127.5, I'll take a shot at the over here. I like both these teams a little bit better offensively than that, and we'll see what happens.
All right, good stuff there. What do you think here, Dave, with these two teams taking on center court? You leaning one way or the other?
I would lean Seton Hall, and I'll echo what Brian was saying about shot quality. And looking at the games that have been played so far, Oklahoma hasn't been very good. You mentioned nice win against Nebraska yesterday. Actually, it was a lucky win against Nebraska because they probably should have lost that game. Close, but they should have lost. The other loss was a clean loss. Seton Hall's only loss was to Iowa, and that score was somewhat misleading. It was should have been a much closer game than it actually was. Seton Hall is playing better basketball than Oklahoma is at this point in the season. That might change later on. But college basketball is very much a current form game, and in this instance, the current form favors the Pirates. I'll go with Seton Hall here.
Back in Seton Hall to get it done against OU tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern time tip there, guys. ESPN Invitational. We'll head on to another game, going to be an awful lot of fun too, huh? How about Tennessee taking on Kansas? The Jayhawks here. Tennessee a slight favorite in this one. 1.5, 132 is the current total here. 7:30 Eastern time tip here, and this should be fun for the Battle of Atlantis here. Bryan Leonard, are you leaning one way or the other with these two teams?
Yeah, I am. I think we've got a team that's a little bit overrated in Kansas right now. Obviously, we saw what they did last year, so they come into this season with a target on their back. But if you take a look at what they've done the last 4 games, they played Duke. They win that game 69-64. But the shot quality numbers say they should have lost that game by 8. Their final win percentage after the game was over should have been 28%, and they got that victory. They played a Southern Utah team, win that game by 6 in a game that they should have only won by 2, 57% post-game win percentage. NC State, 67%. Wisconsin, 56%. So Kansas is winning, but they're doing so in very impressive fashion. Tennessee, on the other hand, they lost that game to Colorado earlier, 78-66. But if you take a look at their shot quality numbers, they should have won by 6, and the win percentage after the game was over should have been 68% for them. So both teams playing the 3rd day in a row, so obviously you have to take a look at the depth situation a little bit. But I like this Tennessee team. I think Kansas right now, they'll eventually be where we think they'll be, but they're not playing well enough now for me to think that they can beat a quality team on a neutral like Tennessee right now. There's a reason why Tennessee's favored in this game. I agree. Lay the points with Tennessee.
Lay the points with Tennessee. I mean, both teams, Dave, had to deal with overtime. This is what, the 3rd game in 3 days for what's going to be a pretty exciting game here. Do you give the edge to Kansas or Tennessee here?
No, I don't like 3 games in 3 days situations. I don't know how to handicap them, and nobody else does either. Okay, it's guesswork as to who's going to be fresher. I think the edge, if you have one here, it's Tennessee. Kansas is finding their way right now. I think by the end of the season, they'll be better than Tennessee. But right now, Tennessee's probably a little better than Kansas. No chance am I betting this game. I'll give you a guess on Tennessee.
All right, leaning, guessing towards Tennessee. Ralph, maybe a little less scoring in this one. Maybe a total's a look. How are you going to approach it?
Well, the first 2 games we talked about were teams with no rest off wins. So I went to the database, and I only did November games, so these do not count the March conference tournaments. But when 2 teams with no rest that both won their last play, there's been 226 games, and it's a 56.1% play to the under. So not earth-shattering, but it is sort of what you would expect. Brian thought the sight lines might help in the second game, and it may, but you also have teams that are more familiar with each other. I'm in agreement with Dave. When you have 3 games in 3 days, unless I'm personally watching the games like at a conference tournament, I find it very difficult to play unless there's an injury or something, some sort of anomaly occurred. I'm also going to agree with Brian. Kansas has not impressed me at all. You look at Bill Self, and he said, we weren't the better team on the court. If it wasn't for a couple shots to get us to overtime and in overtime, we should have gotten beat. So I have not seen them click, and that's not the team I want to bet on. But again, in this situation, playing what they have in the 3rd game and 3rd nights, I also can't get on Tennessee just because they went to overtime against USC, a team that I thought they should have handled more easily. So pass for me, lean with the under.
All right, leaning towards the under in that one. That leaves us with one more game. That's going to be an awful lot of fun over at the Phil Knight Classic out west, 9:30 Eastern time tip, as UConn taking on Alabama. Bombs away here, people. UConn just decided, well, 3 points is the way to go, and they shot a ton of them, made 17 of them last night, destroying Oregon. And you know what? Alabama, they made a few as well, taking care of business against Michigan State. Dave, does the three-point barrage continue today, and are you favoring either one of these teams?
Well, they got to fire them up, that's for sure. Alabama does that all the time. It looks like Connecticut's comfortable shooting the three as well. I think, again, this is a game where, neutral court, neither team's real fresh. They're just not games I bet. But looking at what they've done so far, I think Connecticut is ahead of Alabama at this point. I do give them a coaching edge. I think UConn has the better guy on the sidelines. So I'll lean Connecticut. I'm going to give you a game I actually only made one bet today in college basketball. I'll give you that in the best bets. Here, just a coin flip, Huskies.
All right, leaning towards the Huskies here. It does seem like they've got some shooters on this UConn team. It's usually defense first there, Ralph. So they are 6-0. They can shoot the rock. What do you get in this one?
Well, the funny thing is UConn hasn't shot that many threes. You look at what their three-point percentages compared to their field goals. As you said, they shot 47 and they made 17. So you are shooting at an incredible pace, 46%. But this Alabama defense, Nate Oates hasn't playing D. They're the number 2 most effective defense in college basketball early. And they're a top 45 as far as three-point defense goes. They're number 1 in two-point defense. This is an actual client play for me. I don't like playing games 3 days in a row, but 2 days in a row, I don't mind doing this. The Tide's 5-0. They did beat Michigan State. But I do need to mention, Michigan State was without 2 of their top 6 players. So maybe that Alabama doesn't look as good as it should on paper, but I'm still backing the Tide in this one. Their only non-cover this year was when they went to in-state rival. They played at South Alabama in Mobile and gave their in-state brethren some love with a road game. They were a 10.5-point favorite, only won by 10. I consider UConn an anomaly. They've only taken on the 300. They've played the number 353 schedule. Oregon is the only team outside the top 200 that they played. Yes, they took care of Oregon, but they're not going to make those threes against Alabama. I think Alabama has the better offense. I will take the Tide. And again, this is my best bet and an actual client release for me today.
All right, good stuff there. Bryan Leonard, what do you think about this matchup? Certainly looks like it's going to be fun on paper.
Yeah, your lead in, I just want to talk a little bit about that. You talked about how Connecticut hit so many three-pointers. If you take a look at the shot quality numbers, the final score was 83-59. But when you look at what they would normally do in that situation, they only win the game 73-61. So that was 10 extra points that they scored because of their hot hand shooting from three-pointers. But I think the better way to play this game is the under. We've got 2 of the top 6 teams in college basketball defending the rim. So neither team should be able to have any success underneath against the opposition. And I like the defenses on both these teams. This is a game where I like the under in this. I think is the best way to take a look at this. Neither team can get to the rim. Second game back-to-back, maybe a little bit tired legs. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I think the under is probably the best way, at least in my regard, to play this game.
All right, looking at the under in this one here, guys. Again, all 3 of those games a little later here today. A lot of games across the board on the card. Let's see if there's one these guys like a little bit more than the rest. Ralph, we'll start it off with you. Which game did you circle for us here on the show?
Well, again, no need to take up any time on me. Game 908, Alabama. They're playing in Portland in a tournament. Client play, best bet here for the show.
All right, there you go. And talk to us here, Bryan Leonard. Which one of these games are you leaning towards here?
I'm going to go off the board and give you the play that I gave to my clients earlier today. That's the Oregon State-Florida game played in Portland. Early in the season, a lot of people make judgments on small sample sizes. It happens all the time. Everybody does it. We even do it as professionals. We've been doing this for 40 years or longer. But we see yesterday that Oregon State played Duke They lose that game 54-51. If you don't know Oregon State, you think, man, that's pretty impressive to beat this Duke team. But if you take a look at the shot quality numbers, they should have lost 70-49. The end game win percentage in a game that was decided by 3 points, 3%. Oregon State had a 3% to win based on the way they normally shoot the basketball. So a lot of people will think that this is an improved team. I haven't seen it as of late. They played a pretty easy schedule thus far. And you take a look at Tennessee. Tennessee plays Xavier yesterday. They lose that game 90-83. But looking at the shot quality results, they should have won 85-71. So instead of losing by 7, they win by 4. Should have won by 14. They had an 85% chance to win that game. They had 92% chance against Florida State. This is a good team here in Florida. I like them here. You're laying 14.5, but I think this is a blowout situation. Give me the favorite here.
All right, give him the favorite in that one there. And Dave, you mentioned only one play here today, and maybe a best bet for us as well.
Yeah, in this hot streak, I've been playing a lot of good-sized chalk in what I think are go situations. Early in the season, it is not a bad idea to lay big points with high-level teams in certain spots against low-level teams. And they've been winning like crazy so far in the season. I think Illinois fits that bill tonight. They're coming off a loss, their first one of the season. That should have them interested here. Lindenwood, new to D1, new to the Ohio Valley Conference. They play pretty fast, which plays right into Illinois' hands. Illinois wants to play racehorse basketball this year. I think Illinois wins the game by 40. I'll lay the 32 without hesitation. Illini is a client selection, and it's my best bet here on the show. And we'll see if we can keep this run going.
All right, good stuff there. We don't have a gold sheet play of the day for you here today, guys, but we certainly would encourage you to head over to goldsheet.com and utilize those great tools they have available for you here across the college basketball landscape. Great write-ups, great stats, analytics, great stuff there. Visit goldsheet.com. I'm going to go with a night game tonight, too. The Manny Bates Bowl, I believe, is what they are referring to it as. Butler on NC State. I like Butler, and the market has moved them from a dog to now a favorite, and I can't argue with it, laying 1 against NC State here tonight. And don't forget, guys, you can head over to wagertalk.com right now, and you grab those packages. The bowl package available right now for both Ralph and Dave Cokin on their pages there. Hop that up. I mean, bowl season will be here before we know it. Not to mention Dave continuing to ride an unbelievable college basketball streak now, 10-1. Make sure you grab one of those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages, and you never got to worry about missing a play from any of these guys, including Bryan Leonard, Ralph Michaels, Dave Cokin. Let's make it a profitable holiday weekend here, guys. Visit them over at wagertalk.com. Once again, to recap, we've got Ralph Michaels going with Nate Oates and the boys, Alabama laying 1, while Bryan Leonard says Florida gonna get it done. Lay it with them, a little over 2 touchdowns. Dave says, I got your 2 touchdowns right here. 32 is what he's laying with Illinois. They should have no issue in that matchup. And I'm going to lay 1 with Butler taking on NC State here tonight. And guys, it's been one heck of a week, holiday week. Certainly hope Thanksgiving treated you well. We want to make it an extremely profitable weekend, and certainly hope that you guys will visit all 3 of them over at woodtalk.com. We'll be back Monday, another slate of games and another week. And until then, on behalf of Dave, Brian, and Ralph, appreciate the time, guys. Best of luck with all your plays this weekend. We'll talk to you again on Monday. Good luck.
Do you want to bet this college football bowl season alongside Dave Cokin and Ralph Michaels? Well, we have you covered. When you look among the list of our handicappers, some are known more for specific sports, and when you mention college football, 2 that jump out are Dave Cokin and Ralph Michaels. Mr. Dave Cokin has been the all-time profit leader in college football since he joined Wager Talk, and while the regular seasons have been profitable, His performance in the Bulls have been even better, going 45, 22, and 1. That's 67%. Ralph Michaels was a previous general manager of Phil Steele Publications, voting on all significant college football awards, including the Heisman Trophy, before joining Wager Talk. Ralph's run ball action has been stellar, going 44 and 20. That's 69%. Our bowl package price will be $199 with the $149 early bird. You can lock in Dave and Ralph's both for only $198, coming out to just $99 each. That's Dave's 68% and Ralph's 69% bowl records, including any 5% best bets released in bowl season for just $198. Access will cover any college football releases from the Bahama Bowl on Friday, December 16th, through the College Football Playoff National Championship game on Monday, January 9th, from both Ralph Michaels and Dick Cokin, and include any 5% best bets. So act fast before pricing goes back to regular price.